What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tapped In Indy Podcast. I'm Nick McDaniel. He's Myron Fancher. That's right, folks. You're watching the correct show if you tapped in to the Tapped In Indy Podcast. Heath's on vacation this week, so Myron's filling in this week. So we're going to do a double whammy.
Kind of jealous of Heath. I'm glad I'm here in the desk, but building lightsabers. See, that was when I went to Disney last time, they didn't have all that Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Now he's on a boat out in the ocean. He's going to visit all kinds of stuff. He's posting videos of Heath's treats and all that good stuff from the boat, man. And check him out if you follow him on T.I. Heath Mulligan, man. He's having a good time. I'll give him that. I'm glad he's having a good time for sure.
He deserves it.
So speaking of having a good time, man, we're actually going to combine both shows this week, the Tapped In show and the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight. And so if you're a YouTube watcher, you typically don't know what the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight is. That's because that show is exclusive on our Patreon page, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Most of the times, again, not this week. But look, that's a free one. That is a free level item. If you just have a membership to patreon.com/tappedoutpod, that show drops there every single week. It covers all of the indie shows kind of in review that happened the prior week and the look ahead to next week. But this week you're going to get it right here on YouTube, tappedoutpod.com. But also don't forget on Patreon, for the paid levels, you get the show notes. That's huge, man. Like this week, I think it's like 13, 14 pages long. So obviously we don't get to cover every single thing line by line on these notes. So you kind of get a deep dive because these are, by the way, notes sent to us most of the time. The shows I went to, I handle, but the shows that so you kind of get a behind the scenes look of what they think as well. So it's not just our opinions.
I like that. Yeah. I've watched you take so many notes, but I like to get somebody else's take on it. Just to see what they're going to be putting over, because they may put over stuff we wouldn't put over.
Well, they know what the stories are.
Yeah,
they know where they're going. Like that's kind of the big reasons. But that's right there. That's just a $1 level. You get those notes.
I gotta ask you this question.
Yeah.
One of my friends was posting that he was looking for a booking on a certain day, and I was like, okay, here's what's open, but if you really want to find out who's running, where running, what time running, what promotion it is, where do you go to find that, Nick?
I list stuff every week. There's literally the Making the Drive section in here has it. That calendar that we share is not open to the public, if that's what you're thinking. That is not open to the public. I don't have that open to the public at all. I know at one point I think you believe that, and that is not true. That is not open to the public.
I believe a lot of false things.
That is not true. Yeah, there's the reason, but yeah, that is not open to the public. But I post every week, like the next week shows what are coming. I mean, it's not like it literally is every show that's in that calendar is listed. And by the way, same thing we were talking about on the Patreon page. Every single week, it's public. I post Phil Stamper's list, which is a nationwide list of all the shows. So, and sometimes they extend out all the way. So if you're going to be gone over the weekend, I mean, it's a pretty extensive list. And look, I know a lot of people are like, oh, hey, we appreciate you putting out the Making the Drives list of all the shows that you track in Georgia. It ain't nothing like Phil Stamper's list nationwide. I like kudos to that guy because he's putting in the work for sure to get that list done. So that's why I make sure I credit him.
It's so hard to keep up with Georgia. I mean, we've got 38 promotions that we track now.
Yeah, so right now the spreadsheet's up to 38. And look, I may shave a couple because 30, I think I said 33 of them we actually have their next scheduled show dates, that I could find. And I did look, and I'm telling you, if I didn't find your show, that's a you problem. It ain't a me problem, because it literally is like I looked on your social media, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I looked on all, couldn't find your show date, and was like, you don't have one posted at this point.
Has it gotten to social media being the haves and have-nots of Georgia wrestling, where you have people that do it so well, and you have guys that just don't do it at all to promote?
Listen, I don't criticize a ton on, so I think not being able to find your date super easy. If I can't find it super, I'm telling you, your fans aren't finding it super easy, because I'm really, really looking, and I promise you they're not.
And you're
looking
an expert
that hard.
at that. You're an expert at looking for the shows. You do it.
I mean,
nonstop.
I'm digging constantly, and if I can't, I can't find. But look, I always tell people I get that I probably don't effectively use social media as good as I should. So that's why I don't criticize people as far as their social media use. But I mean, here's the thing. Let's go to there. You brought it up. 38 promotions. I will say actively there's 34 probably promotions. Just because no 35. I take that back. 35. Yeah. Because there is one that I know they're about to announce their next date. Mucha Lucha. It's just like, just don't, they just, because they run so infrequently, they do have gaps of their next date sometimes. But here was the question that I wanted to get into this week is, it was funny. Over the weekend, I had conversations with multiple people at shows, and we were having conversations about why is it so, like, hey, it's hard to get to every show. It's, hey, why did you miss our show last time? Oh, well, I missed it because I had to go here. Or, and I'm like, dude, and that's when I would throw out the number. I'm like, dude, we're tracking 38. There's probably 34 at the time. Shows that, like, there's no way. There's literally no way to even get to somebody pretty regularly. I went to a show that I hadn't been to in almost a year. And it was like, it's because it's so far away and it's, whatever. I had a great time as always. We'll get into that in a little bit. But the question was like, some people literally we're talking wrestlers, promoters, bookers, whatever, and stuff at shows that I was at over the weekend were like, what? Where's that? Like, I don't even know that, And my point kind of, like, that's why this segment came up in my brain going, what do you have to do to separate yourself out to become something that everybody recognizes, because there's so many right now? Well, like, everybody's claiming to be the best, but some people don't even know who you are.
Yeah, you're stuck in this void where I could book the same guys everybody else is booking to be a recognized talent. So if you see that guy on the card, you're going to get a good match. But people may start getting bored with that. And then you start bringing in all these unknown people from out of state and things like that, and you get an unknown variable. Maybe people want to go taste that. Me, not as much. I like to see the guys I know on a card before we make the journeys. What is the separation factor on this?
I think you got to have an identity that's just different. It's kind of funny because when people ask, there are promotions that, like, it's not the talents. Listen, this is no disrespect to any talents, but typically when I look at a promotion, it's like, what do they do? Like, what do they? Who are they? Like, what's their personality? What's their identity? Like, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it was like some of like we always talk about, like, what does Southern Fried do well? They tell stories.
Yes.
What does what does Southern Honor do? Their production is basically better than everybody.
Unparalleled.
What does, and I'm just rambling through the state. What does Action do? For the longest time, their reputation was, they were the best bell-to-bell wrestling, around. That's kind of what they do.
But then you got One Fall, who's liable to show up with a great show anywhere.
Well, what's their identity? Their identity is they're going to have a lot of young talent who are super athletic. But, oh, by the way, randomly, you're going to have QT Marshall, Billy Gunn, Fire Morale. Like, you're going to have Brady Booker, etc. Like, it's like, okay, well, you have no idea, like, the talent level. Like, I always tell people, like, when we talk about athletes, we talk about football players, basketball, etc. You always hear the conversation when a guy gets drafted, what's his floor and what's his ceiling? Like, how, what's the minimum level? Like he's at least going to be this good. What is that? What is the ceiling? When you talk about One Fall, it's like One Fall is like their floor is already high because you kind of know you're getting somebody. But the ceiling is you might roll out a card that's got, QT Marshall, Billy Gunn, Satnam Singh, Jack Jameson. There'll be 8 guys that are on TV show up.
Yeah.
And so that's your ceiling at that show. But anyway, so it's kind of like to ask yourself, like, what do we do to make ourselves special? Ask yourself, what do we do best? And then look around the state and go, but who else does that well and better than us? Yeah. And be honest with yourself.
Yeah. Now wrestling is hot. It's hot. It's probably hotter now than when we started doing this. Much hotter. But
On the national level.
national level, and it's trickled down some. But crowds are depressed sometimes. They're not as high as they were 3 years ago.
This is something I saved this because you put this in the group text, and I was gonna ask. I wanted like, hey, let's have a legit conversation with Myron, not like prepped. There's a part of me that wonders. Tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Send your feedback because this is one that I'm just curious on. When WWE was at its lowest creatively and people were crapping on it, that's when the indie crowds were the best for us. My question is anybody that's into wrestling right now spending all their money because WWE is so hot right now? Is that where their money's going? Are they buying Roman Reigns t-shirts?
Where's your Friday night? There's a lot more incentive to watch SmackDown on Friday night than there's ever been. It's been crazy. Listen, PLEs all the time.
We've joked about it. They're running Saturday night main events, Rumbles, Manias, Backlashes, whatever. Are the crowds down because everybody's staying at home because of that product's so hot?
We watch that on TV. That's probably the best explanation I've heard for this.
So everybody likes to say like, oh, the crowds are up because wrestling's hot. Okay, but if it's hot up top, is that where all the money? Because people contrary to popular belief, people have a finite level of money in their household. Like there's just a number that they're like, hey, this is what we make. If my kid wants to buy the John Cena Funko Pop or the John Cena t-shirt, because guess what? They're literally making one for every town he's at for the last time they're making another t-shirt.
Our Funko, you said our Funko was finally coming.
Finally. We bought it like 2.5 months ago. Yeah, it's finally coming. Yeah. But my point being is like, if all of your funds are going to that level, there aren't funds to keep going to the indie shows. I don't know that this is true. This is literally me asking, and which is why I said tappedoutpod@gmail.com if you think so. Is the curve invert? Like, does it, if it's hot here, does it dip here?
Well, it's like a pyramid. Sometimes you're on top, other times you're down at the bottom. And is that with indie wrestling? Will it flip on you when the national product is great, and will it flip back the other way when the national product sucks? That's something, I was not enjoying the WWE content as much as I do now.
Think about that. Like, I'm going to use you as an example so you can run with this. When the product was down, all you ever talked about was going to an indie show because you enjoyed it so much better.
Yes.
Let's be honest. That is not always the case now.
Yeah, there's a lot of nights I want to rush home and watch a PLE or a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because I really want to know what's going on.
I'll be blunt. I'll be the first one. Now, I know what the end result was, so don't clap back because of the end result. But going into Mania, like I was like, anybody that ran on against WrestleMania was just out of their minds because like I was like, there's no way I'm missing WrestleMania live.
No.
And there are the Rumble same way. Like, hey, I'm not missing Rumble. Sorry if you're running, man. I apologize, but I'm gonna watch Rumble live.
Well, it's like holidays. Those are should be indie wrestling holidays where people don't run just out of common sense.
Well, when you have 38 promotions, it's really hard to not, because then you're also trying to not run against each other and this, that, and the other.
We've seen it in the back. There are a lot of guys that don't know the national bookers that don't know the national schedule, or they're tied to a date they have to run because of their venue.
Yeah, that's usually the big one that you get. It's either you run this date or you don't run. So what do you do? So my question, that was more of the overlying thing of like, hey, is the inverted, curve to how hot the national scene is versus the plus. Anyway, I love the fact that we're seeing a lot of guys come back, and that's a good thing. And but now, however, there are some things that are going really, really well on the local indie level, and of course. That brings us into the hot hand, Myron. That's a segment we do where we talk about. So we did a segment last week, the Power 5, focused solely on promotion. So I thought this week we would kind of flip that a little bit and go with the hot hand. It's going to be individuals. There is one cheat, but we are, going to hit individuals primarily. And so this is kind of your first forte into the categories that we do here on the show. Number one, okay, these we don't actually number like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 5. We just kind of go, here's our 5. Number one, we're going to talk about him a lot on today's show because we're going to get into that stuff a little bit later. But Matt Griffin, he's right in it, with the hot hand. Myron, dude's left a list of bodies, promotions all over the place right now.
He's stealing a dog in one show. The next show he's going to work at, he's fighting the promoter in a Monroe Street fight. He's here. He's there. He's promotions I never thought I'd see him at, doing death matches. Matt Griffin has become, people say, the kingpin of Georgia wrestling. But I think it's almost to the point he's become the wheels on the car. He's moving so many people forward. I can't put him over enough.
I'm not going to put him over at all. Here's the thing. He finally crossed the line. Stealing, Juju, that was just the line that cannot be come back from. But, again, I'll dive into that a little bit later in the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight segments. But, look, he is doing everything he claims he's going to do. Saturday will play a huge, massive role in that. Again, we'll get into that. That's what we call a tease, folks. We'll discuss that during the Making the Drive segment. But right now, dude, you can't, whether I like him or not, that's not the issue. Personal feelings aside, he is literally on a hot streak, which kind of going to put you falling in the hot hand.
Yep.
Next up, Bryce Cannon.
Whew.
He is.
Back.
I'm going to rattle off some stuff to you, man.
Okay.
He is your Lariato champion.
Yes.
Friday night, he attacked Kyle Matthews, the Jake the Snake Legacy champion at Southern Honor. He just wrestled Effie for the GCW title. He had the angle with JBL. He's got Matt Hardy coming up down the road. And here's the kicker one. People don't, okay, first of all, I'm going to let you react to that first because I think this other stuff deserves a longer-winded answer.
The man was on the shelf for a good bit of time with his injury. Mm-hmm. And he came back doing probably more than he did pre-injury. This is really a big deal. He's not the guy that's with Exotic Youth every time they come out anymore. He's Bryce Cannon. He's got a little bit of separation, a little bit of, acknowledgement for his own work. And then he's got all these matches in all these places. Hot hand. This is an ID, WWE ID waiting to happen, in my opinion. I don't think you get better.
Yeah, he knows, I've shared our thoughts personally with him about what I think his ceiling is. But now let's talk about what's coming up. Coastal Empire, kind of end of the month. We're getting there, guys. And we're going to talk about that in the next week or so. But I'm going to talk about it now. He is involved in the match at Coastal Empire that he has upcoming with Dax Anthony. I don't think there's some people that realize how big this is. Coastal Empire, I'm not sure if you know, promotion of the year. That's kind of their, that's what they are. And then we're talking about the biggest, look, my argument, tappedoutpod@gmail.com if you disagree, the biggest match they've had potentially in a year. This match has been building for a year. Mm-hmm. When he got injured, this thing kind of started because Dax Anthony is the root of all of this. And Dax Anthony didn't let people forget it the entire time he was out. Dax Anthony cost, that's why he was suspended and he's gone. He's out of the picture anyway, because of Dax Anthony. This is his way back in, his opportunity to get revenge. He's, everything's leading to this moment. So put Coastal Empire, give him a follow on social media, give Bryce Cannon a follow on social media, because this could arguably be all of these accolades, all of these titles, all of these people that he's wrestled. This one probably means more to him personally than anything he's got going on right now. Personally, I'm being honest. I didn't say professionally, but personally, this one hits home and means more to him than anything. So, but all that being said, all of this and those accolades that we talked about, that's why he's in the hot hand.
Yep.
This is my first cheat. It was individuals. Hunter James / The Crusade. Hunter James specifically, and then I'll go through the rest. He's your Southern Fried Classics champion. by the way, it appears that he has literally led this group to take out the Sexton Alliance at Southern Fried.
Yes, that's a big storyline there. God, what a good show they had last time.
He is your Coastal Empire champion. He defended that title successfully a couple times over the weekend. That's right, a couple times over the weekend. He is coming up against the APW, the Apocalypse Pro Wrestling Championship. He's going to have a title match of there upcoming. He has an title at the next show. He's got a Liberty title match in WrestleMerica coming up soon. Oh, by the way, he's literally was just in the mix for the Jake the Snake Legacy title over in Southern Honor. Oh, by the way, he's involved down in Viral, and you see where we're going.
Yeah, there's so many places you'll see him. He's like a rash. You see Hunter James everywhere,
and he is absolutely one hot hand. Now, the reason I wanted to piggyback on this is also you got Grillo and Pat Roach, who are your Southern Fried Tag Team Champions. They are your GCW Tag Team. So these guys are on a roll as well. And by the way, Grillo, massive win. He picked up a win at Southern Honor. So I'm like, listen, we hope Pat Roach is, back sooner than later. We'll, thoughts and stuff out to him. So Hunter James and the Crusade as a whole, not to mention Joey Hyder debuted, Joey Hyder's at Southern Honor. He's at Southern Honor.
Impressive young man. I'm seeing more and more out of him every time.
Yeah.
Kat Spencer, though, is the one that's not getting enough credit as the heater. She's doing the whole China bit. She's doing a bodybuilding competition that she looks phenomenal for.
Did you see her video?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
And she's getting the wrestling psychology. You can see it develop with her. I hope she gets back in the ring after, because isn't she the women's champion? Yeah, she's the women's champion.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
nobody there right now worthy of taking her on. So she's just going to wear that thing. It's her belt. So
I'm impressed with the whole group.
So that's so Hunter James and the Crusade. Kudos, you're in the hot hand. The next person up, Joe Black. I wrote one sentence in our notes, and I was literally like, I couldn't think of more to say other than he's either the champion or tag champion pretty much everywhere they go.
Yeah. If I were to name the best 5 matches I've seen in 2025, maybe late 2024, Joe Black would be at least in 2 of them, perhaps 3. He goes out there, he gives that incredible performance every show, and he's believable. Let me
ask you this: if you like the punishing physical style, like he's your guy in Georgia, right?
Yes. If I wanted somebody beat up as a booker, if I wanted somebody beat up, I would bring in Joe Black. That's just the true story with Joe. He consistently puts out good matches whenever you see him on the card.
Or if you're, hey, we got a guy, we want to know if he's got it. Back in the day, they used to say like, oh, well, the 1, 2, 3 Kid, X-Pac was he was the measuring stick. They would have him wrestle, whatever. Like I always say, like, okay, well, if you want to find out your guy, can he go? Can he somebody you could build something around? All right, well, bring in Joe and see what Joe thinks. Let's have him work Joe and see what he thinks. Yeah. That probably works too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And then last but not least on our hot hand, any explanation needed for me saying Carly Bravo?
Carly Bravo has become such an influential force in Georgia wrestling because of his experience in other places and his ability to help the guys out and just put on great matches wherever he goes. He's always going to be entertaining. He's got the charisma and personality. Probably, well, he's already got a national contract. He's got the charisma and personality to take him to the next level.
We know everybody's like, hey, we were on the Carly Bravo train long time ago, early in the game. And, but to this day, I still think the guy's special. I think I watched him. I'm trying not to dive too much into the stuff, looking ahead stuff to segments that we're going to get into, but he had a match with, Adrian Alanis at Southern Honor. They had a singles match, and it was just spectacular. It was really, really good. And is there affection? I said to somebody in the back, I said, Are we at a point where there's effectively now a Carly Bravo rub in Georgia? Like you get in there and
yeah, I think it's got
he's
to
gonna
that.
he makes you look better. But the other thing too is he's finding out, like he's trying to make everything better, which is kudos to him, by the way. I know personally that's something he's trying. Like, hey, can we make Georgia better? Can we make other people rise to the occasion? Can we push people? That kind of thing. That's what he's looking for, and he's trying to not just do this for himself. He's also doing it trying to get people, up, pushed up and leveled up. And
if people want to make Georgia a hub for great independent wrestling, Carly Bravo is one of the pieces that we need to make that puzzle work out.
Yeah, Charlie Bravo, the straw that stirs the Georgia drink right now, right, when it comes to wrestlers. He would have clearly, by the way, I wanted to be clear because we had this conversation last week when we did the Power 5. I'm like, Carly Bravo is in the Power 5, but we did it as promotions only, so he wasn't. And I was kind of like, okay, that's the only reason Carly Bravo's not in the Power 5. And I was like, there's no way he doesn't get into the hot hand for the exact same reason. So, but again, so that is Carly Bravo. Well, Myron, something to shake. Go ahead.
Carly Bravo is attitude, appearance, and ability. The 3 A's. And that puts him over.
Without question. I'm not even going to argue with that. Carly Bravo is like the guy right now. He's got a bunch of guys nipping on his heels, and we talked about some of them right there behind him. But right now, I would still argue kind of right now, he's still the guy. Again, mixing it up a little bit this week, and unlike other shows, we're going to roll right into the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight here on, one super show on the Tapped Out Indie podcast. And Myron, it's been a while since you've had to make this trek on this show, because if you're not familiar, it's a big week. It's a big
week, and it's a big set of notes for this. Get these notes, folks. Get on the Patreon. Get these notes, because if you're missing something,
listen. He's right, man. Look, on any given week, these notes are I think there's 13 pages this week, and so without hesitation, let's jump right into the Indy Rewind this week. Starting on Friday, May the 9th, I was at the Southern Honor Show. Made the haul up to Canton. Dude, sidebar story. Had to go down to Piedmont Hospital during the day. Got stuck down there forever. Had to fight 5 o'clock traffic to get home to make it over there. I walked in. You know me. I walked into a Southern Honor Show at like 7:10.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So it was a mess. It was a mess just to get there. But glad I went. Got to hang out with Jamie Martin, as if you're looking on the screen there, jmartinandcompany.com, pressure washing and window cleaning, etc. Check them out, J. Martin and Company. It's the only people that we let pressure wash our house, their driveways, etc. Yes. So anyway, got to sit with Jamie and his son the entire show, so that was a blast. But look, we've already hinted at it a little bit, Myron, earlier in the show. Obviously, the big story coming out of there, Matt Griffin, Gunnar Miller, they had the big match where Sunny Days had Matt Griffin. Gunnar Miller is handcuffed to the turnbuckle outside the ring, to the post. Sal Renaro's your guest referee, special referee. They have everything to level the playing field. Great. So it's nothing can go wrong until it goes wrong.
The picture of the year of Georgia wrestling so far is Matt Griffin and Gunnar Miller, but Matt Griffin is holding Juju, Sunny Days' dog. Kidnapped the man's dog.
Despicable.
The Juju story has been all over Georgia about how the wonderful Juju comes back home after 18 months lost. Probably the most popular person in Georgia wrestling among the guys and stuff. And then Matt Griffin takes his dog. You can't take a man's dog.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Let's just pass up the fact that they whipped Sal Renaro with a belt.
Yeah, I never got to that part. I just saw a dog.
Yeah. So Gunnar Miller broke free. He gets free of the handcuffs. He throws powder. It's a whole, and then of course he helps Matt Griffin pick up a win. Of course.
Who's going to stop him? Who is going to stop him?
That's the question. Like, that scenario set up you had everything at least in your favor to help you level the playing field, and they still come out again. And it's not that even that they win. The Den to stoop to the levels. I mean, what a piece of trash. Like, I get it. Like, I've always justified things in wrestling, right? You try to justify things, and you're just kind of like, hey, I get it. It's wrestling. You're trying to win, like cheating to win championships. All right, I get it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I understand. It's all about winning gold. This has nothing to do with gold. This doesn't have anything. Like, you literally took the man's dog. Like, why?
Belts and checks, man. Championships and checks. I believe that is Booker T's story, but you don't take dogs.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. That's just stooping to a level that's just bleh.
I'm gonna have to hide my dogs. I'm gonna hide because if Matt Griffin comes around, is he gonna steal everybody's dog? Is he a dog napper? No, Matt Griffin, bad guy.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe they'll have who knows what they'll pay at the next show. Joe Black, obviously, he is your still your reigning, defending Southern Honor champion. He did pick up the big win over Towers. But look, now CT Keys emerges at the end of that show to kind of confront and be like, it took literally the locker room to keep them apart.
CT Keys reminds me so much of Ron Simmons right now. He is killing it. He's got the look. He's got the talent. He's intimidating. I mean, real nice guy in person. But he's got the magic. This is going to be an awesome story. This is going to be the ass beatingest match you're going to see.
I agree. Also on Friday, One Fall Wrestling down in McDonough, Georgia. Again, we've talked about how what they give you on a week-to-week basis. Because it seems like they're running every single week, sometimes multiple shows in a week. QT Marshall, JD Inc. picked up a big win over Warden and Ilya Drago. Reason that's a big thing is because of everything that's going on. Look, QT Marshall was in the tournament. Warden kind of cost him his opportunity to get to that fatal four-way for the championship. They're going to have a big match coming up soon. So, hey, here's a big momentum builder for them. Look, a lot of people were talking, Myron, down in McDonough. There's a buzz about who's going to get that championship at the May 19th show in Watkinsville. I think me and you are going to try to go to that show if possible.
Yes. I'm going to go out of my way. If I have to drive myself, I'm going to go to that show.
Yeah.
I'm driving again. Thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm good. But, dude, look at the names on this card. Sign talent. Oh, sign talent.
Yeah.
Satnam Singh.
No, I agree, dude. Hey, I get it. But here's the thing. All that talent, but yet they're still talking about Parker Lee and Hyena Hera.
Dude, that's the craziest thing. We've seen them come out and do the heel bit several times, and it makes people insanely mad. Hyena Hera is killing it.
Listen, I had an opportunity to see them in person another night, which I'll touch on in a minute. But, yeah, dude, they are absolutely, without a doubt, the hated power couple there at One Fall, amongst other places.
If she is not Georgia Woman Wrestler of the Year, this year, it's going to be bullshit. I'm going to go ahead and fire it off.
Yeah, so check them out, man. Like I said, their next show is it's in Watkinsville at May 19th. You absolutely, without a doubt, need to follow them on social media because they are running everywhere. They just announced a new venue in Dahlonega as well. Premier All-Star Wrestling ran over in Wedowee, Alabama. We don't talk wrestling about Alabama shows unless it's a show.
If I'm as an Alabama native, I'm of course every city in Alabama you can't pronounce correctly because it's got 2 or 3 different.
Here's the funny thing is I like it Wedowee. I think it sounds better Wedowee, but you're probably correct, but I like it the other way.
I will go Wedowee.
Yeah, JT Paradox defeated Chris Gaines. AJ Black picked up a win over our buddy Christian Taylor. Stevie Ray Frost, who is your premier champion, picked up a big win there against BK Bennett. Listen, JT Paradox, he was in his hometown. They pick up a big win. Stevie Ray Frost is still your champion there. Look, Stevie Ray Frost has been champion for a long time there in Premier. And he's knocked off some really top talents, Myron. I don't know if you've seen that laundry list of guys he's gone through.
Yeah, he's a guy that can go out there and get it done. He's also a great booking mind too. Super guy, really nice guy. But they've got talent in their hometown talent when they travel, and that's a good thing. Yeah. Because if you're in a new city and you bring in somebody that's local, you got a lot better chance to get over.
Yeah. I mean, look, they got a great reaction from the local crowd. Hopefully it sounds like everything went great for them there at the high school. And so make sure you're checking them out on YouTube. And, of course, dude, they've got shows constantly running. I believe the next show's the 24th. Again, follow them on social media as well. Platinum Championship Wrestling also. We're still on Friday. Platinum Championship Wrestling. We told you it was a long weekend. Conyers, Georgia. Huckabee shows up on the card, picks up a big win. Vanderbilt picks up he got a count-out win over Dominic Stuckey. Najasism, of course, is your PCW champion, picks up a win over Chad Skywalker. Big news coming out of the show, though. Skrilla returns and has aligned himself with Brian Blaze. It's not only going to, be an issue, it looks like, going forward with the Platinum Championship Wrestling title scene, but you've also got Quattro's, his Quattro's house. They have the Lucha promotion that runs in there. Looks like that's going to bleed over into their promotion as well. Rose Gold and Jasmine brawled literally all over the entire building. It's chaos and stuff down there at Platinum right now, PCW, especially with now that we've got Narcissism situation, the Skrilla Blaze, alliance. It's just politics have grown, spilled out in front of the cameras. So who knows what's going to happen? And they've got a show literally coming this weekend at Quattro.
Hey, I am so happy to see Dominic Stuckey's name on more cards all around Georgia. That guy can go. I really am happy about that. Brian Blaze, one of the guys that has the mind for it. His work with Matt Hankins and Shane Marks was always awesome. But what are we going to look for on these shows coming up?
Look, lots of stuff, man. I mean, like you said, the big stuff you got coming is what's going to happen now with the title. Dodge is still your champion, but is Blaze and Skrilla going to? What's the politics? Quattro's Casa de Lucha. That if it spills over to there, do they try to run roughshod over there as well? Who knows? But again, check them out as well on YouTube. Apocalypse Pro Wrestling on Friday. Cliffhanger Chris, easy for me to say, and BK Ballinger, they defeated Savage and Dexter. They're now the number one contenders. Tower picked up a massive win. But the story's coming down the road, man, is Hunter James is going to get a shot at Scott Mason's title coming up pretty soon. Tower, however, is going to be in a 5-on-1 handicap match, including, by the way, Rick Page himself.
So, okay, is that like a gauntlet match, or are they all going to be in the ring at one time? So he's got to beat him. Yeah. Oh.
So you got to ask what I'm saying, man. You got to find out, man. Obviously, can Scott Mason hold on to that title? Can Tower survive the whatever? That's why, hey, listen, and by the way, you don't have to wait long. May 16th, that's right, Friday. That they're back every single week there at Apocalypse Pro Wrestling. Catch them out on YouTube. Yeah.
Got to respect that. They got a TV contract. They're on a local television station. Rick Page is the greasiest little suit sport coat wearing goon manager in Georgia wrestling right now.
There might be Matt Griffin might have an argument with that, right?
Was he a manager or a wrestler?
Matt Griffin, he's actually a manager. He's got a bunch of people all over the place, so I would say he's a manager. Saturday, May the 10th, our buddies at Coastal Empire Wrestling, kudos to those guys, dude. They knocked out a bunch of shows last week. We talked about it last week on the podcast. 2 more shows this weekend down at Two Tides down in Savannah. Outdoor show. They braved the rain through the first show. Kind of held the crowds down a little bit, but not too bad. Second show, boom, crowds massive all over the place. Lots and lots of stuff happening. Simon Sermon defeated Mighty Joe. Hakeem Young beat Jimmy Wild, who we put over huge last week. We were talking about he's everywhere.
Around, wearing that coat in multiple towns. How did I miss Diana Michelle wrestling? I didn't miss it. I watched it on YouTube. Simon Sermon is such a polarizing figure down there. I've only seen him like once or twice work. I've got to get down there to watch him. I'm just dying to.
Yeah, Coastal's definitely on my summer trip list, just because of the distance that it is. It's like 4 hours away plus whatever, so I got to make it a summer trip. But kudos to friend of the show, Diana Michelle. Looking good as only she can look, and going out there and slapping people and picking up W's. I made a joke. I did share it and put 1-0. She's in the 1-0 club.
Yeah, undefeated.
Undefeated. That's right. Maybe there's an intergender tag match for me and her. We get into a tag match. I'm kidding, Zach. Don't even think about it. Yeah. But the big news, Hunter James picks up 2 big wins. He successfully defended that title twice in one day and over 2 pretty super names, J. Alpha Miller and Simon Sermon, back-to-back shows picking up a big win. So, by the way, you wonder why Hunter James was on the hot hand list. There you go, folks.
Yep.
Chad Skywalker has blackmailed his way into a title shot. Shocking.
Has Hollywood Hunter James ever watched a VHS though?
He probably doesn't. Never seen one. That is probably absolutely true.
Mean, he's not as old as we are.
And look, lots of stuff going on there at Coastal. Can Hunter escape the Simon Sermon, Chad Walker, the Coastal Case Files? The Coastal itself just running show after show again.
Yeah, proud of those guys.
Next
really
show is May 31st, and we talked about the massive thing for that card, May 31st, Dax Anthony versus Bryce Cannon. It could arguably be the match of the year for Coastal Empire as far as the importance level goes, and for the future of that company.
And Dax Anthony is on another card we're going to be talking about too.
Yeah, Passion of Wrestling. Dax Anthony, he came up short against Cody Behringer for the Passion of Wrestling. Sorry, I almost called it the POW title. Passion of Wrestling title. Dead Man Hand did defeat Noir, and they are the tag team champions or whatever. They're at Passion. Look, the promotion's just growing down there. I appreciate the fact they always are putting their stuff's on YouTube. You get their content, check them out, man. They got a lot of stuff going on. They got an upcoming dog collar match, 3-way title match. They're gonna have more announcements and stuff. I know an announcement came out. I apologize since we did the notes. That they've got a lot of stuff. So give Passion of Wrestling. Those guys, man, are just plowing ahead, putting in the work, and not to mention, have you seen? So it's not public. Never mind. Let me back up. Michael Walker versus Bryce Cannon was a great match. Everyone's like, wait,
I heard great things about that match. Really great things. I like seeing Frankie Valentine on more cards. I've heard nothing but positive. I saw him 5 years ago, so my memory is shot. I would like to see him again, the way people have been talking so positively about him.
But Michael Walker and Bryce Cannon, all right, I ain't gonna lie to you. I saw the match. I got a copy of the match, and it's spectacular.
Michael Walker's good. He's thin, and he's pasty, but he can work.
He is I've seen him now a couple times in a couple weeks. The crowd loves him.
Oh yeah, he gets over real good.
Yes. And it's those measuring sticks moments. A Bryce Cannon's one of those guys in Georgia. You can find out where you stand. And by the way, we're going to see him, and we're going to mention his name again in the next segment when we talk about Michael Walker, because we are going to see him in person this Saturday. So again, check it all out. When that stuff's available on YouTube, make sure you hit Passion of Wrestling. Give them a subscription there on YouTube, because the Michael Walker Bryce Cannon match alone, thumbs up. You definitely want to check that out. WrestleMerica, that was the show where I was at on Saturday. I braved I didn't think I was going to be able to make it anywhere, and it came up last minute. So I made the haul through the monsoon and headed down to Forsyth and checked them out. KJ Impala is your champion. He opened the show, did an open challenge. Christian Taylor comes out. Christian Taylor takes a loss, but what an opportunity to face the champion.
God, that guy is I can't see him not working his way into a very high position in Georgia wrestling, perhaps outside of Georgia wrestling too. Christian Taylor's the man. Once again, attitude, appearance, and ability.
Yeah. Soldiers of Fortune. Look, the whole show literally was named Unchained. It was for the main event. 6 tag teams, 4 change, 2 teams start. It was just a total chaotic mess in a good way, by the way. I'm not saying that it's literally just Myron, there's blood, there's fire, there's chains, there's just all kind of chaos.
Why would they burn Sauronaro?
Family Matters got some issues. That's all I'm going to go with.
Sauronaro.
But yeah, we'll get to the Sal part, but I do want to add that Soldiers of Fortune, Dominic Stuckey and Desmond Chastain, they are the new tag team champions, which leads to a lot of things. Let me flip-flop the notes there for you. That now means in the last couple shows, King Shit has lost all the belts.
Who?
Fry Daddy and CT Keys are no longer your Liberty champion. They're no longer well, they weren't the Liberty champion. They had lost that a while back, but KJ Impala is your champion. He took that title off of Fry Daddy, and now Soldiers of Fortune have taken those tag team titles off him as well. They have nothing left. That will not sit well with Fry Daddy and CT Keys. At one point, they had all of the titles, literally all of them, and now they have none. Huge. That's definitely something to look out for. The big story, though, Family Matters. Michael Stevens' family, as he has down there, burn Sal. They've got the issues with Luka Daniels, and amongst every other thing or whatever. But the problem is everybody's at the disadvantage of the numbers game with them. There's just too many of them involved. So the question, Myron, is can anybody stop them? Kind of sounds like a developing theme. Numbers always win, right?
Yeah, especially if you're setting people on fire.
Yeah, we hope Sal's okay. Sal's, Sal, great friend of the show. Did not get a chance to catch up with him, obviously, after the show because he was rushed out of the building, burned. Hope he's okay. Facility. Yeah, to the local medical facility, yeah. Check them out again. Follow them on YouTube as well. Their next big show is June 14th. They announced quite a few matches, but I don't know if it's online yet, so I don't want to spoil it. But I'll spoil a little bit. Hunter James, he's going to get a title shot. He will be fighting Parker Lee for that title there at WrestleMerica. That's a big one coming up. But
change your oil, Hunter. Change your oil. If you're going to be on the road this much, you need to check and see if it's time to change your oil.
Bullpen Pro Wrestling ran over in Temple, Georgia. Ryan Wendell defeated Frankie Valentine and Dante Diamond. He is your new light heavyweight champion. Trey Jordan and Damon Thomas. This is the thing that's been building for quite a while, Myron. Trey picked up the win, but this thing is far from over to the point these two have gone on now and demanded a loser leave town match down the road, and I do believe that is going to be granted. Sean Nelson and Jacob Ashworth defeated Brad Lynch and Shane Knowles, but that's not the story even there, Myron. Bull has had enough. Bull Buchanan has had enough. He actually just literally jumped Shane Knowles. They had a major brawl, but all of those things have led to what is going to be the first ever bullpen fight. Now, full disclosure, I don't know what that even means, but I'm in. Yes. I buy it. I'm in.
Yes. I'm really bullpen match. I love specialty matches. Who doesn't love specialty matches? Stipulations. I love stipulations, but I like seeing Jacob Ashworth on that side of the state. I mean, he's easily the John Cena of Georgia, like the popular face John Cena, not the heel turn John Cena. But Ashworth is popular everywhere he goes. Gets one of the biggest pops every time he comes out. Now he's over there. This is a really good card. Really, I want to find out what a bullpen match is too.
Yeah, I mean, look, all I know is I've heard there's sawdust involved, so I'm like, are we going to get a brawl on the outside the ring? Who knows? But if you want to check them out, obviously YouTube, and give them a follow on social media because, man, that was one of the hottest crowds. I've seen some clips from the show. Super hot crowd, and that's where they are right now. They're just picking up all kind of steam, and you don't have to wait long because they've got a show coming up this weekend as well.
They're running Myron, over there.
So that was an action-packed weekend to say the least. But, of course, all of those things lead us to our favorite segment of Who Won the Week when we're breaking down the weekend in review. And, Myron, unfortunately, here's the thing. Again, you got to give credit where it's due, whether you like it or you don't.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
I didn't even tell Melissa, my wife, that Juju got stolen. I kept that on the down low because I don't want her getting all upset. She's not even a wrestling fan, but yeah. If people found out about that, man, they would be angry. Yeah.
So obviously, Myron, there's the spoiler alert. Matt Griffin and Gunnar Miller are your winners of the week. Somehow, some way, they have outsmarted the powers that be at Southern Honor. I don't know how they made it. We talked about it. They made it out of a no-win situation. You literally had Sal as the ref, Gunnar's handcuffed. But not only do you pick up a win, Myron, you steal the man's dog.
Steal a man's dog.
You can win the week and be a piece of trash at the same time, right?
Yeah, you can burn Sal Renaro. You can do all kind of stuff. You beat Sal Renaro with a belt. Why are the people abusing Sal Renaro so much?
Sal had a bad weekend. It did not go his weekend this way. The only thing, I almost said something, and I don't even wish that bad luck on him. I almost said something negative about curse the Raiders of some kind, and I was like, you know what? I can't do that to him. He had such a bad weekend. I can't even wish that.
Is Art Davis back from the grave booking Sal Renaro now? But he's still not a dog stealer.
No. So again, don't appreciate a lot of the tactics. I still think he's a piece of trash, both of them for that matter, for doing it. But your winners of the week are Matt Griffin and Gunnar Miller for actually, like you said, not only picking up a win, but even kind of outsmarting. So who knows? Well, man, that leads us into the Making the Drive segments where we look ahead to the weekend that is in Georgia indie wrestling. And Myron, it's a loaded weekend. So here we go. Yeah, that car's acceleration is an understatement of how we're going to have to get through this list. Yeah. Apocalypse Pro Wrestling's running in Royston. Obviously, that is your every Friday routine there, unless something special like a holiday or something like that. Bell time is 8 o'clock. Hunter James steps up to the challenge of Scott Mason after he got blindsided in that 6-man. Here's the question, Myron. We always come back to, can anybody, we've been asking who can overcome Apocalypse. Is arguably one of the best wrestlers in Georgia, Hunter James, the guy. Time will tell.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I mean, Scott Mason is dominated there, and he's got all his henchmen.
Towers' big rematch clause match. He's got to go through all 5. It is a handicap match. You answered your own question there. Tag match. It's going to be back. It is Veach, Red Ninja, Morphe, Chop Top, and Rick Page himself. Tower does look. He's a big dude, and it's a hard to overcome a lot of those odds. Maybe because here's the other thing: if he overcomes this and he can get this win, he gets another shot at Scott Mason.
I hope Rick Page has paid his life insurance. You need to talk to him, Nick, see if you can sell him a policy before this
beforehand. Match. Absolutely. More information is going to come out. Freedom Fling is going to be June 13th. Lots of stuff going with the Freedom Fling Rumble, so coming up down the road. But make sure you check out Apocalypse Pro Wrestling, the artist formerly known as Squared Circle action there in Royston at the Royston Dome. Also on Friday, Lariato Pro Wrestling Guild, Jackson, Georgia, bell time 7:30 at the Jackson High School. This is a loaded card as far as names you will know. I'm going to just rattle off some of the names, so this is why you want to check them out. The Good Brothers are going to be in action. Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. QT Marshall, Jimmy Wang Yang, Amish Outlaw, Bryce Cannon. I mean, just so many names on this card. Absolutely check out Lariato Pro there in Jackson, Georgia.
I love the Good Brothers. I would really, really like to see this. QT, Jimmy Wang Yang. Is there any pop that's going to be better than the Good Brothers down there at Lariato? I can't wait to see that.
If I had my way, I want to see a guy. If Lariato Pro, look, if you're giving him a Matt Hardy, you're gonna be, give me Bryce Cannon versus QT Marshall.
Oh.
Just saying. I know nobody's listening over there at Lariato Pro. Wink, wink. But yeah, give me QT Marshall versus Bryce Cannon.
QT Marshall has wrestled one of the best matches I've ever seen with Kyle Matthews. I'd like to see him put Bryce Cannon to that point.
Yeah. Also on Friday, Quattro's Casa de Lucha there in Conyers, Georgia at the PCW Arena. Bell time is 8 o'clock. As we talked about it earlier. Look, with Blaze and everything with the politics going on there, like, if there's nobody left to enforce order there, chaos is only going to get worse there. And, by the way, fans, we like chaos. So, and this will be the first official, it's the first official chapter in the new era of PCW and the Quattro's Casa de Lucha. Easy for me to say. I need to practice and get up to speed on that. So my Spanish is getting better over the last couple of years, if you know what I mean.
You're beating me because I'm still having trouble with it, but you're speaking a lot more than I am.
Well, I have to talk to my grandson sometimes, and that's
that's right. I forget about that.
So it's like, but I jokingly say the 2-year-old, he's almost 2. He's almost to the point, Myron, where he is going to be past all of my high school vocabulary at some point as we get.
He's going to be bilingual and still smarter than the two of us.
Wow. But so now let's move to Saturday, May 17th, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, Monroe, Georgia, right there at the Boys and Girls Club. Bell time is 7:00. 2 huge cards. Everybody knows. Look, this is the, we like to cut the go home show for Shindig. Call it what you will. I literally in my notes, guys, I have Sexton Alliance ? Like I don't know. Like what does it look like? There's suspended members. There's hurt members. Are they going to be back? Who knows? I can tell you who is going to be there for the Crusade. Hunter James is going to be there because he is going to be defending that Classics title against Michael the Flying Fro Walker, who we were discussing earlier, who put on a hell of a match. So Hunter James, if you haven't done your homework, I assume you have. If not, you should. That's a match you probably should make a phone call. I know you and Hunter, Hunter and Bryce had that little passing going in and out of the ring a couple shows ago. You might want to call up Bryce Cannon and do a little homework on the Flying Fro. But everybody knows, look, tickets have been just flying off because David Manders versus Matt Griffin, the kingpin of Georgia wrestling, dog stealer.
Dog stealing bastard.
Now he's trying to go into Southern Fried and steal Shindig from David Manders.
Okay. Promo of the year, maybe. I got to see it better for them from where we saw it from. I want to see the YouTube clip of it. Manders has a hold over his audience like no one else. Gary used to do that at Southern Honor, but Manders, those people identify with David Manders. Those people believe in David Manders. David Manders is a man of the community. Those people, a lot of people just come because he's there. He is the man in Monroe, and he is getting a street fight. So people are going to turn out in droves to see a Monroe street fight with Matt Griffin, especially after that bit Matt Griffin pulled with his kid, putting his kid between him and David. He had that angle where, it was like he had his daughter out at the ring. I promised you I wouldn't ever I wouldn't wrestle anymore.
But you can't. Here's the other problem. I get it. You might promise your daughter that, but you can't. You can't let another man come in your house and take your stuff, right? That's the thing.
Well, it's like when I told Melissa I would never vape again, and she caught me. This is just, you can't make absolutes in life. David Manders is going to tear this place up. He's going to be all over the building.
Oh, I don't want him to tear the place up. I want him to tear Matt Griffin up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's it. So that's where, and look, I think as of right now, that's where we will be on Saturday, checking that out. I could not miss Matt Griffin getting his ass handed to him, hopefully, by David Manders. Bullpen Pro Wrestling, Delta, Alabama. JT Paradox, Xavier Cross will take on Trey Jordan and Cody Wyndham. But Dante Diamond and Ryan Wendell in a flag on a pole match. Flashbacks, baby. Flag on a pole match. That's going to be entertaining. Damon Showtime Thomas versus BK Bennett. Brandon Watley and Julius Pryor. Bunch of more. Look, again, I joked about this at one point. It feels like for 5 or 6 straight weeks, I have nothing but every single week it's been a recap of a bullpen show and promoting a bullpen show.
Oh yeah, they're going to be the one fall of that side of Georgia.
Very well could be, by the way. Kudos to Bull Buchanan, dude. He's been crushing it down there at Bullpen, and absolutely, they just love what they're doing over there. Saturday, Georgia Premier Wrestling back in Jasper, Georgia. And if you haven't, this is a show that you really need to check out. They have come back with a vengeance there in the gym there at the high school.
I am so happy to see Georgia Premier come back. That's a legacy name. That's an established name in Georgia. It's very important. And now they're back, and you're getting to see, some more QT Marshall there. You're seeing guys that were important in that area. You're getting a lot of the one fall talent. Solid card, solid company. I'm glad they're back.
QT Marshall, as you said, will face Trevor Blackwell for the GPW title. Huge challenge for Trevor Blackwell. He just picked the title up, and so this is going to be a huge challenge right out of the gate. Tommy Mars and Jimmy Wild, this is the incarnation, of the superstars while Nikki Eight's out. Hey, real quick shout out to Nikki Eight. Hey, we hope you heal up quickly and see you back sooner than later. But Tommy Mars and Jimmy Wild will defend the tag team titles there. Of course, we're still trying to figure out what's going on with Josh Cantrell. What's up with the attitude change? What's up with the, this whole new personality, if you want to call it that he's got. So time will tell. That is, again, Jasper, Georgia Premier Wrestling. Check them out as well. Classic City Wrestling in Athens, Georgia. Look, the big show. Naja is your champion there. He will be challenged by one another. Look, I don't know that we can we have a show and talk about Bryce Cannon too much? I don't know if that's even a possibility, but he will challenge for the Classic Cities title there.
Rotate your tires, Bryce. You got to maybe change your air filter. I mean, him and Hunter are getting more miles than anybody right now.
Yes, and I will say that because anyway, Bryce Cannon hitting the roads he's all over the place. But Najicism, he's the one that needs to check some stuff because Bryce Cannon is not literally, like we said it, like this was going to be Bryce Cannon's year, and what a coup it would be for him to come in quickly and take that Classics championship and jump up to one of the hottest promotions there in Georgia. Also on the show, Jackson Drake versus Sean Legacy, WWID match. Here's the thing. This is not a negative, by the way. I'm going to ask this question, though. Fourth time. I think this is the fourth time this match has happened in Georgia. Again, kudos, by the way, for landing the match. I've seen it personally twice. I've seen it twice now. And I don't, by the way, here's the thing. This isn't, if you think I'm crazy, this is not going to be the last time you're going to see this match, and I don't think it's the last match you'll see it. At the last time you'll eventually see this match repeatedly on television at some point.
No, this is not even a conspiracy theory. It's gotten way too bold. They're trying these ID guys in front of different crowds, seeing how this goes over, probably changing different angles, match times. This is going to be perfected. Suppose she's going to have this perfected by the time they put it on television.
Yeah, that's the theory, man. I honestly believe, like, hey, why have we seen this match so often? A, it's good. Let's start with there. But B, I just have this running theory that I wouldn't be stunned if this is the finals. If this is for the WWE ID Championship. Like, I could see this, and they like, hey, we need you guys to wrestle a bunch of times because eventually, by the way, guys, we just snatched the curtain back. This is so behind the curtain, like, conversation in the sense of, I think this match is this is either a semifinal or a finals match for the WWIT title. That's why we're seeing it so many times, in my opinion. So, again, you can go check it out, in Athens and get a pre-show of it there at Classic City Wrestling. Enjoy the music, enjoy the drink, enjoy the wrestling
This is something. Had David Manders and Matt Griffin not been fighting, I would be there. I would go by and see my daughter. She's at school up there. I'd have a great day. We go to a nice restaurant and go to this show. It's a great venue. It's a great town. And they got good matches. So what else could you ask for?
Not much more. Check them out there, Classic City Wrestling in Athens. Next Level Championship Wrestling in Augusta, Georgia, bell time 7 p.m. Lots of stuff. And I mean lots of stuff going on. Rico Gonzalez, Justin McKenzie, the Revolution versus the Skulk. That is part of the tag team tournament. If you're not familiar with the Skulk, check them out. They're doing some really good stuff at Southern Honor and at Action as well. Jada Stone and Tootie Lynn Ramsey. Look, no countouts. Last time the ring couldn't hold them. Now we're going to find out, look, no countouts. They can brawl all over the buildings. Everything's legal. Matt Sells versus De La Suede. That'll be fun. And, of course, look, I'm happy to see our boys. They're my guys. I tell them. The main men, huge fans of those young kids. I think they have a huge potential, massive upside on those two. They will be taking on the Concealed Syndicate there. Next Level Championship Wrestling, Augusta, Georgia. They're picking up steam. Go ahead.
Are they still doing the scrolls thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand that. But I don't understand a lot of things in life.
Yeah. But you would if you were more into, nerd stuff, like Nerd U Championship Wrestling will be running in Cornelia on Saturday as well. The only match I've seen so far, I know they've got a lot of stuff going on. Michael Solar, your champion, will be defending against friend of the show, Terry Lawler. I love some Michael Solar.
He has gotten so over every show he's at. The kid, he's got some kind of special bond with these audiences, and they may see him multiple times. Solar is a guy that's done more than I ever thought he was capable of. Kudos, Michael Solar.
Yeah, listen, but he's going in against the vet Terry Lawler. Terry Lawler if there's ever somebody who can teach Michael Solar a lesson, that is Terry Lawler.
And be nice about it.
Stretch
him and be really nice about it at the same time.
Put him over his knee. Put him over his knee and give him the spanking or the whipping or whatever you want to call it he deserves, and be nice about it. That's Terry Lawler for you. Look, lots of stuff going on too there behind the scenes. Look, Matt, what's going on with Matt Westlake and Jamie Holmes and the powers to be? I don't know. We're going to find out. Check them again. That is Saturday in Cornelia, Georgia. Nerd U Championship Wrestling. Chatsworth, Georgia. Renegade Championship Wrestling. Jeremy Prater and Big Andy for the RCW Heavyweight title. Aiden Wright and Randy Rocker for the RCW No Limits Championship. Renegade just kind of a couple times a month, dude, knocking out shows there in Chatsworth, always right there in the zone doing their thing.
Crowds
give them a follow.
Good too. Yeah, I see good crowds in that house now, so good to see it.
Yep, check them out. Renegade Championship Wrestling again in Chatsworth. Monday, May 19th, I think there's a really good shot that two of us are going to make this show there in Watkinsville at South Main Brewery. Bell time is 7 p.m. You're going to get QT versus Warden. QT was ripped, kind of robbed of an opportunity to be in the championship title match by Warden. So he's going to get a little payback and revenge there. But of course, the one I'm talking about is the main event is Brady Booker, Varia Morales, and Ilya Drago versus Trevor Blackwell. 4-way dance, fatal 4-way, call it what you will. The winner of this match will be your One Fall Wrestling heavyweight champion. And Myron, I don't know if you saw that. There were some betting odds that went out on this.
Oh, I didn't see that. Who's the
preferred? Go check out Brady Booker's Instagram. Check him out. Like I said, over Brady Booker over on Instagram. He posted those betting odds in. The Tapped Out Betting Services actually ran the numbers and gave the betting odds and sent them over to him. I thought he'd be happy with those numbers, and it was a pretty good.
Are you expanding again?
No.
Are you adding another project?
Listen, I simply asked chat what the betting odds were on the match, and it gave me some numbers, and I thought Brady Booker would be interested in those.
I still got to work on that stuff. I'm not. Nick, how the last vision I had was Brady Booker with Varia Morales up on his shoulder. I mean, those guys are such good guy baby faces, and the other guys are such bad guy heels. I think the dynamics and the drama in this match will make it very worthwhile. Okay,
it will by far and away be. I was going to say match of the night. Don't know that I could, to be honest with you. But it's going to be the match of the night. I mean, like the talents that are in this ring. And when we went into this tournament, it was funny. Brady Booker and Ilya Drago were what I consider the odds-on favorites to win, even though I had Brady Booker losing in the first round. Here was my thing. I felt like if he got past the first round, he was going to go all the way to the end and be your winner. So, obviously, but here's the thing. I could literally see any four of these guys as your champion. Ilya Drago walks out, looks completely like a wrestler's wrestler. Varia Morales is a wrestler's wrestler, can wrestle with everybody, anybody, do anything you ask him to do, and can be the face of your company. Trevor Blackwell, we've already talked about it. He's the GPW champion. He's got other gold, so it wouldn't shock me in the least if he was your champion. But if I were a betting man, which I've been told I am not anymore, I would say Brady Booker is your odds-on favorite to walk away with the One Fall Wrestling Championship. That's just my opinion. But that's only 2 matches, folks. I promise you, there'll probably be at least 5 other matches, it feels like, on a one-on-one fall show.
And, the whole time, we are getting, even while we're recording the show, we're getting fed data from our numerous sources about what's going on. So the amount of research, this is my first time sitting on the show. I have to congratulate you on the work you do and give you credit for the work you do putting the show together, because the amount of data is insane.
It can be overwhelming on a weekly basis. Yes, it can be a lot. Listen, but I appreciate all of the promoters, the bookers, that participate and help gather this information. It is a lot, but I appreciate everybody that fills those forms out and gets them to me in time. It does make it a little bit easier, but it's still got to be consolidated. And look, if you're one of our typical YouTube users and you're not familiar with the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight, this show typically, this part of our, the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight typically is a standalone show that is absolutely free on our Patreon page, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Yes, you get that show for free. Yes, you get the Phil Stamper, nationwide list of all these indie shows that he tracks. God bless him. You think if this is a lot of work? I commend him and all his efforts for what he does. That is for free. But at the dollar level, you get the show notes. I mean, literally just all of the data, like we talked about, 13 pages today, just on these notes alone. Not to mention, we haven't even got into like the 17 or 15 pages, whatever the tapped out show is going to be. The $5 level, that one, gets you the weekly shows early. The $10 level, that gets you the digital version of the exclusive monthly Patreon tapped out collectibles cover of a specific wrestler. And that gets you every show early, including like the interviews and the bonus episodes that we do. And then, of course, at the $25 level, that gets you the actual physical copy you get the digital copy and the physical copy with an actual autograph by that wrestler on that, and that goes out and gets mailed out to you on a month. We're actually about a week away before I actually send those out, by the way, for this month.
Oh, man.
And by the way, real clear, I know I don't want to cut you off because I want to make this clear. We've talked about it. The first of the month, literally the first day of the month, you have to be a paid member to get that copy for that month. Like, you can't sign up on the 5th, 6th, 7th, the first of the month. So, for example, June the 1st, you have to be a paid member at that $10, $25 level to get that said digital copy / physical copy of the autograph.
Well, I'm so glad I could be part of the teaser reel to get you down into people watching and subscribing to this free show. I would get the shows early because I'm usually right about the national program. My takes on the national program, I found far exceed Dave Meltzer. So
yeah, it's a lot of information going on, man. And hey, look, I appreciate you sitting in this week. We still have a national show. We still have a national show that's going to be coming up tomorrow. If you're typically a watcher here, typically this is the part where Heath goes, "So Nick, what are you and Myron going to talk about on tomorrow's show?" And I come back with, and I go, "Oh, well, this week we're going to do one of our What If episodes. We've got some really cool." I appreciate all the people that send tappedpod@gmail.com, sent those in. We got some really cool ones that we're going to go through this week as well.
Some great.
Really going to be fun. And, look, we'll probably chat a little bit about Backlash. I mean, what happened and the Raw after, etc. Amongst some other things, some other sad news that came out in pro wrestling, which we'll discuss that on tomorrow's episode. But, well, man, that's it on the Tapped In. And we're used to doing the other out. I got to wonder if I can do Heath's exit from our show, because Heath is kind of the host on this show typically. Yeah. I'm usually riding along. Heath will always say something to the effect of, "Hey, support indie wrestling. Go out this weekend. We gave you a whole list of slows if you're in Georgia. You never know. When you buy your ticket, you get your drink, you get your hot dog, barbecue sandwich, whatever is your little snack of choice from the concession stands, and you sit down and you glance across the room, you might see a couple, dudes that you go, those are some handsome guys. Is that a tapped out shirt I see?" And you might, because you might see us at the matches.